He lived from 385 to 461 AD, a really, really, really long time ago. He was a man who was zealous for all things of God, and he was a missionary serving in Ireland. The land was basically a pagan land at that time, and honoring pagan worship services. The king declared that no lights of any kind, no fires could be lit until a massive fire was lit on Salem Hill to start a spring festival. Patrick, however, decided that his devotion to God exceeded his fear for his own life. And so on Easter Eve that year, he lit candles as he led worship. Rather than being so furious at Patrick's disobedience that King Roger offed his head, he said anybody who's that true to their faith should be honored. And he let Patrick continue his missionary work without any kind of hindrance from the government. So fast forward several hundred years to the 8th century, and a monk, Galen Fordale, wrote the words, "Be thou my vision," as a tribute to this time in St. Patrick's life. It was translated into English in 1905 and then retranslated in 1912, and the arrangement from 1912 is the one most commonly sung. Ironically, the tune for it is Slain, which would tie it back to that very festival that he was protesting by lighting candles on Easter Eve. So life is complex, things go full circle, and as we honor St. Patrick by praying the song, "Be Now My Vision," we also accept that we're a people from diversity. So number 451. Was written by George Bernard. He was born in Youngstown, Ohio in 1873. At the age of 22, he converted to Christianity thanks to an evangelism ministry of the Salvation Army. And he worked with them as a traveling evangelist for a time, and then decided to step out on his own in 1910. And he traveled the Midwest holding revivals in cities all around for the next 30 years. In 1912, he was holding a revival in a Michigan city, and teenage boys were disrespectful and disruptive, and he couldn't get them to settle down, and it really bothered him. And so, in his private time of prayer and reflection, it occurred to him that for him, you couldn't separate Christ and the cross. In his faith, in his way of understanding his Christianity, those were an inseparable combination. And so, while he was here in Albion, Michigan, he wrote the first verse of this hymn. Then he went to Pokagon, Michigan, where he wrote the final verses, shared it with the pastor and the pastor's wife, where he was holding revival meetings, and they were brought to tears by it and asked him to include it in the revival. So it was first included in a worship service on June 17, 1913, with guitar accompaniment, and then later they did a 5-voice choir arrangement with organ and violin. So, a song written in Albion, Michigan, because God uses everything, even challenges, toward good, and some mouthy teens inspired him to spend more time in prayer, and he came up with this.